Rosemary, let's start with Your Sister's Sister, for which you just got an Indie Spirit nomination. Congratulations.
I know, I know.
And you too. That's right. You guys
I know,
are
yesterday.
your rivals.
Congratulations.
I'm sorry, I left that out. So, well, you guys can find it out later. But talk about that part first.
It's funny because it's so great to hear you guys all talking about the script, the book, you know. And with this, not only was there not a script, I think I hadn't even read it when I started begging everybody on my TV show to let me out for the days to go shoot. I got a call on a Saturday morning from a friend who had to drop out of it, and she said, "You're going to get offered an opportunity to work with these lovely people. Just say yes." And I was shooting season 3 of United States of Terror. I'm like, well, unless it shoots on the Paramount lot, I'm probably not going to be able to do it. And of course, it shot on the San Juan Islands off the coast of Seattle, starting on Tuesday. But I had seen Hump Day and was just such a fan of Lynn Shelton and the director, and this alive, vital, moment-to-moment thing that was happening on the screen. So I didn't even see the the treatment. I just started calling producers saying, please, you know, if I come back every day, if I go shoot all night and get back on a ferry and a plane, can I do it? And miraculously, they worked it out. So for me, it was more that I was in love with Emily Blunt and Mark Duplass and Lynn Shelton. So that's what I wanted to get in the sandbox with those guys. And then it was really a process of actually pulling, rather than going through and combing through the script and like going out on the tree limb and like trying to find the character and seeing where that resonated with the stuff inside. It was literally going inside and being like there was a moment where Lynn Shelton said, really embarrass Emily in this next moment. But, you know, and then they're like rolling and you're like, what, embarrassed? Okay. You know, and I remember and you have to trust this, like we all do. With scripted material, you trust that flash of intuition when somehow some God somewhere sends you something. And I just remembered a hideous story about one of my girlfriends on the beach, and I looked at Emily and I said, remember that guy who wanted you to cut your bush? And she turned like 40 shades of purple, and I was like, that's what I want. That's why I did this movie, because that's the beauty of improvisation, you know. So that's why I just wanted that experience. And then the character became somebody that I loved. That was me and somebody else, because you had the confines of, she just broke up with her girlfriend and she wants a baby and stuff. And then the other movie was sort of the exact opposite. Promised Land was about the script. And for me, not so much about the character, was more about being part of a big story, like a story that I thought was about something, like, you know, what happens when, you know, we as individuals make decisions that affect our community, and communities make decisions that affect the individual. And I thought this was a movie about America and where we came from and where we're going. And I didn't think I would actually get it. I went in and read with Matt Damon for it, because I was about 10 years too old for it on the page. And so I was like, I remember being this age and being like a sassy girl in a bar, you know. But I'm like, but I'll go in, because I really would love to be a cog in the wheel of that beautiful storytelling.
I was thinking you were just staying in the Blunt Krasinski family, and that somehow would carry you from one movie to the next.
That's basically all I want to do, is work with those two, right. Yeah.
And was it, I mean, like you say, sort of this character is probably more at peace with much more at peace with the world than the character from Your Sister's Sister. I mean, was playing those sort of diametric opposites interesting for you?
Yeah, I mean, Your Sister's Sister, whenever you get to go into the deep, dark, nasty places, is so much, it's so satisfying as an actor, and it costs you. You know, it's hard to sleep at night, and it's hard to, I remember doing a role one time and looking at my husband and being like, God, I feel lighter now. He's like, yeah, because you just let go of that one character. They get their hooks in you. Promised Land was a much more buoyant experience, and for me it was a lot more about kind of being a container for Matt's character. So there was like a gentleness to the nudging and guiding and seeing what he could, and that's fun too, to just go in there and like plug in. You know, it's not so much about me and all my angst, you know.
Carrie, can you talk about sort of what your typical relationship with a film director has been, and then how working with Quentin Tarantino was that very atypical or just a little atypical? What was that like?
It's really fun to hear all of you guys talking about. I feel like I don't get to talk enough to other actors who like go in and feel this passionately. It's just really good. It's really affirming to hear. It's fun to hear. I don't know that there's, for me, I haven't had a typical experience working with a director. I feel like that's part of the challenge of what we do is how to do this role with these people in this context with this director. You know, like those are all different pieces of the puzzle. But there is certainly nothing like working with Quentin Tarantino because he's a visionary. You know, he's very, very specific and much more collaborative than I thought, but he's just brilliant and he loves everything about the process. You know, he loves the research, he loves the writing, he loves the prep, he loves the shooting, he loves the editing, he loves the music, he loves the costumes. He's a film encyclopedia. Everything is kind of an homage to somebody somewhere who did something that he loves. And so he lives in this world of just being massively, massively in love with the process, and that's very contagious.
And so how did that, when the shooting's actually happening, is he very proactive? Is he hands-on, or has he sort of prepped you and then let you do your thing?
Oh no, he's in the scene with you. I mean, he's often not behind the camera. He's often like next to the lens of the camera, like saying your lines with you. Like it's very intense. Yeah, because he plays all the parts and he is all the different department heads, and he also really honors. He hires people who he trusts and who he wants you to soar and do your best work, but he wants to be there doing it with you. So it's very supportive and fun and intense also. Yeah.
Kristen, I mean, you talked about sort of this almost lifelong love for the book. What were the themes that interested you from the book that really drew you in?
Well, I think, I mean, the times that I'm like mostly nostalgic for are times that I haven't lived in. And so that was the initial, I mean, it was probably the first, it's probably the first book that really got me reading even. It opened so many doors. And I don't know, I think it kind of represents a stage in life that I'm still very much in and is, you know, doesn't have defined bookends either. Everyone's different. And I think it kind of, where you look up and you go, wow, I can choose my family. Like I can surround myself with the people that really push me and that I want to push back. And you're not just circumstantially around like people that you're comfortable with. You know what I mean? Like I think that it's rare, and not too rare. There's always going to be that line of people that have different expectations and from life and find each other and sort of make it okay. And it is a contagious thing. It's like that energy. I feel the same thing on a movie set is when you find it's flammable, when you're just like, you can love something together more than you can by yourself. Like you could be in your bedroom finding something kind of funny, giggle maybe, but then if you're with your friend, you could be like laughing hysterically at it. And I don't know, that's kind of why I was into it. Also, I get asked constantly about how the girls are sort of, the female characters are somewhat slighted in the book, and I think that it's a typical, especially from a guy, trying to like relate to you and be like, oh, I'm not misogynistic, I completely, it's like, no, but you kind of, even just thinking that way, even thinking that they somehow lost more than they gained, it was such a give and take, like, all of the women in the story, all of the men in the story, like they're all fairly bottomless, like they're like pits of, they didn't, yeah, basically I was into the communal, like I have to find people like that in my life, you know, yeah.
So at the end of the day, what do you think that character is yearning for? I mean, is she thinking long term, or is she just trying to get through the moments, and what's she trying to get to?
She had actually, that's what I was saying, like I had to connect a lot of dots before it made sense to me to play somebody so sort of like limitless and also seemingly sort of like, I mean, obviously transient, but also transient, like sort of able to live so many lives and not have them sort of interrupt each other. And we came to find out that she actually had really like pretty classic conventions as well. I mean, and she was the one person in that story that kind of was able to compartmentalize her life and live very fully, and she was really happy, and she had a lot of goals, and she accomplished so much in her life that it's funny that that's where she started, and it's a sliver of that story. You know, it's